This week on the I Love Funny Women podcast.
She talks too much in class. I got a lot of that. Didn't matter what grade I was in. And one of my cousins was like, "Oh, here, all right, Soli, make us laugh." I was like, what is this kid talking about? Like, and everybody was kind of like waiting.
Welcome to the I Love Funny Women podcast with your host, Dina Nina.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the I Love Funny Women podcast. I'm Dina Nina.
And I'm Lalita Dee.
How are you doing, Lalita Dee?
I am doing okay. I am enjoying my summer in Madison, Wisconsin. When does the summer happen? When does it stop raining? And when does that start? When does it get warm?
I mean, the last 2 days were beautiful, but it has been so hot, except for the last few days.
It feels like it's either really hot or really wet, or no, that's just my libido. Okay, never mind, moving on.
What is a libido? I haven't shaved since 2019, so we're all...
Oh my God, I shaved my legs the other day. It was absolutely amazing. I could make braids in them. It was incredible.
I feel like that with my crotch. Hey, we would love to hear from you. Post a video on Instagram and tag at I Love Funny Women with the hashtag Hey Dina, and you could be on the podcast or even on our YouTube.
Yay! And we would really appreciate it if you could give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Your review helps us work the algorithm and helps us get more listens. Gotta work the algorithm. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds really good.
It is really good. It's like, you know how when they work that special part and then around it, and it really gets you where you need to go?
Oh, baby, yes.
Clitoris algorithm, same difference.
Same thing, got it. We're back to being hot and wet. Basically, you're saying Wisconsin is like a clitoris.
It is.
Hey, this is Door Girl Greg. Thank you for listening to the I Love Funny Women podcast. If you haven't by now, you should really go to the socials and check out at I Love Funny Women on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube, because really, what else are you going to do?
This week in the news, President Biden announced that he will be appointing Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti as the ambassador to India, pending Senate confirmation. If confirmed, it would be the only thing that the Senate has accomplished this entire summer.
Let's hope he doesn't get tasked with sorting out India's traffic problems.
He can't even figure out his own states.
Right. Meanwhile, over on the other side, Storm Elsa ravages New York City with the roads and even the subway being flooded. People complained of being a foot long deep in water.
A foot long?
On the subway.
Oh.
Hey, at least Storm Elsa doesn't hail and make them frozen.
Well, they should just
let it go.
Let it go.
So bad.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jesus, I can't stop talking about this twat. I will say that this is a new one. Okay, it's not a new one. Last week, the freshman Georgia representative got a little transphobic again. Green has been especially heinous to Representative Maureen Newman's transgender daughter. Green said, Newman's so-called daughter is a trans biological adult son approximately close to the same age as my two very much biological real girls' daughters. Can we just agree that this woman should not be an elected official? Like,
I love how you go into like a southern accent when you like cite her. I don't know if that was a southern. You go into something. your Republican speaking voice. I don't know. I mean, I really object to the possibility that my teenage son, who is a biological sentient life form, is exposed to this waste of space, masquerading as a human being. Don't let her into any bathroom. She is not human.
And although I agree with all life forms' right to exist, she should be shot into space as a cautionary tale that all ETs should avoid this planet because there is no intelligent life here.
Maybe she can join Jeff Bezos' intergalactic travel troupe.
Ooh, or become Asgardia Space Nation's mascot.
Now, claims that fed-up residents of California are leaving en masse turn out to be a myth, researchers say.
Like the Bible?
Yes, or the United States being an electoral democracy.
Fair.
The statistics about California were falsely impacted by the departure to Texas of Elon Musk's ego.
Which is a good place for an ego to land.
Right.
I'm Texan, so I can say that.
You can say that, totally.
That's all the time we have for the news. And she is back with an all-new Sex with the Stars.
Woo!
Over to you, Renee.
I'm back. And we have one of the most helpful and transformative skies that we've had since we've started this segment. We have a stellium, a quinacux, and a grand-ass trine. So get ready for some growth where you want it and where you need it. I'm Renee Hayden, and this is Sex with the Stars. Grab a loofah, ladies, because it's time to exfoliate all that dead spiritual skin.
Ew, gross.
The sky is asking us to slough off some of the attitudes and stuckness that we've been collecting and holding on to like an AK-47 in the hands of an NRA member. We get it. You have some issues. Let them go, girls. This week we have a stellium that's introducing us to our sacred curriculum. It's time for us to learn new patterns in a nurturing and functional way. Lilith, Taurus, and Ceres are breaking through our dark obstinance in the warm universal love of the Cancerian mother. Don't lose your syllabus or you'll never magna cum laude. If you don't already know, we're in the deep throes of species maturation, which is currently supported by all the nurturing energy that's coming, in particular because of the Verdant Femme asteroid Ceres.
Hey, girl, hey.
If we give ourselves permission to release the things we've been holding on to, we'll be met with the new gloriousness of what we are to become. Just be aware that where you throw your seed, it will grow. So watch where you jizz, fellas, and people with spermatozoa.
I mean, we are not trying to have another Jack and the Beanstalk around here, people.
Get a good grip on that vibrator. Because you're in store for another quinacux. We have a Lilith in sexy Taurus, Sun in nurturing Cancer, and Pallas in spiritual Pisces. We're being asked to face those places where we feel most betrayed. The pain of that betrayal is now being met with all the universal energies and frequencies needed to open ourselves to spiritual sex. And when I say spiritual sex, I mean conscious, cosmic, mind-blowing, soul-healing sex with ourselves, others, or maybe even disembodied beings that we trust and love.
She's talking about ghost sex, people. Spectrophilia, ghost sex.
We're chocked full of cosmic goodies like a trine that's grand, like a grand trine red carpet in which Lilith strikes a pose, and Vesta in Virgo with her makeup box acting as glam teen, really getting us ready for that red carpet transformation. And Pluto in Capricorn is here to help us break out of our archetypes and gets us ready for some groundbreaking intimacy.
I think what all of our viewers want to know is, who are you wearing?
With a revelation of our true and abundant sexual self. So allow for the image change and the evolution of our sexuality as our hearts, minds, and paradigms change and recalibrate to the highest vibration of who we are.
Oh, you're very good, mother.
Although it could be difficult to partner, allow your guides, guardians, and angels to assist you. Clear your chakras with sensual touch and release.
I got it. Oh no, I don't.
Get acquainted with the new toy. Keep that body alive with active stimulation, be it with a partner or with the best company of all, you. I'm Renee Hayden, and this is Evolutionary Sex with the Stars.
Thank you, Renee.
I'm Tour Girl Greg, and you're listening to the I Love Funny Women podcast.
So this week, Dina got to chat to an amazing comedian, actor, and writer from Chicago.
Yes, and please welcome the amazing Soli Santos.
Hello, Dina. It's so nice to see you.
It is so nice to see you. I haven't seen you in so long.
I know.
What is going on, woman?
I'm just trying to get back to the regularly scheduled program after, the entire globe had a little, could you sit down, please moment. You know what I mean?
Totally. Oh, so have you been doing in-person shows again?
Yeah, I started doing that a few months ago. I got vaccinated back in February. So once I got vaccinated, I started taking some live gigs.
Like it. I like it a lot. So I got vaccinated in March, but my first event that I did live was last month, just a couple of weeks ago. And it was so nice to be back. So yeah.
It was.
So let's talk about this. Like, what happened when March rolled around last year and you were like, what? Comedy closed?
It was wild because the same weekend that everything shut down, I had 2 shows on the Saturday before everything shut down in Wisconsin, 2 back-to-back shows, and I did those, and we were already kind of like, people were already like talking about like, this COVID thing and, making the jokes about like bats or whatever, and then, but I don't think we all really understood what was about to go down. Like, I don't think we all were prepared for like a year and a half. Like at the time they were telling us, oh, just, stay home from work for 2 weeks. And we were all like, really? Like 2 weeks? Okay. This is weird. And then it turned into months and months of them, people, like the government saying, hey, you know what? Could you go to work for like the next year, but we're not going to financially support you. Can you guys do that?
Right.
Could you please?
Can you take a break and then watch your house and apartment be like, watch yourself get evicted and,
because it's easier for us to do it that way, just math. And so we just want to, this is how we're going to handle it. And so I think everybody's been running around the past year trying to figure out, like, what are we doing, And so, I just think that, I kind of went in with, I started doing some of the Zoom shows, and at first I was real apprehensive because I was like, this is terrible. I hate this.
Yes.
But I did it. I kept doing it because, for one, I felt like it was just a way to connect with people, especially since everything was especially when everything was like completely shut down.
Yeah.
And so it was a way to kind of keep some type of sanity of like connecting with other human beings. And then, and also to force me to keep my creative juices flowing, know? And so that kind of helped with, the insanity of what everybody was dealing with. That was just kind of part of my way of dealing with it. And then I realized that the Zoom shows, nobody loves them, but I found a benefit in that it was not only helping me to maintain some creativity, but I was meeting people from all over the world. Comedians I would never have met.
Never. Like you would have never met them.
No.
Yeah.
And that alone, if I took anything away from Zoom shows, that was priceless. And made all of them worth it. All of them worth it. You know.
Yeah. And I've said this so many times, but like I was able to finally start working with people in LA that I haven't worked with since I left. You know, like I got to perform with people that I used to go to the open mics with every, you know, Thursday, Friday, and, you know, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You know, like it's so good. But it was also like so hard.
Go ahead. Yes. I mean, yes, there was. I mean, I questioned. I was like, should I keep doing this? This is like weird, and you know, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad I kept doing that. You know, I think it was helpful.
You're based in Chicago, and tell me how you got started. Were you always like a funny person in school? And
yeah, I was definitely a goofball, and I always had I was always given the accolades on my report card of she talks too much in class. I got a lot of that it didn't matter what grade I was in, what teacher it was always like part of the report. It was like should have been like permanently like typed in there because it was every year. So but I think the first time I realized people thought I was funny was I don't know, I had to be like maybe 12 years old, and I had to go to a family function. I don't know if it was like somebody's baptism, you know, it was one of those, you know, that you don't really want to go, it's going to be boring. So I get there with my family, and my cousins are already sitting at a table, and we're all about the same age. And one of my cousins was like, Soli's here. All right, Soli, make us laugh. And I was like, what is this kid talking about? Like, and everybody was kind of like waiting for like, and I was like, I'm the clown. I don't work for a circus for you guys. Like, I can just perform like this. And it was the first time that I think where I realized that people thought I was mildly entertaining.
And you're like, where's my check at the end of the show?
You told me that there was going to be a stage and microphone here. Buy the rice and beans.
Hilarious. And you've been doing this for a long time, and you're such a staple on the Chicago scene, and you are so warm and so kind.
Oh, thank you.
And I think that, like, in this industry, it's so easy for us to get jaded and become horrible people. Like, it's easy. Like, we could do that. What keeps you grounded in that space of, like, I see that you lift people up, and you're not all about the I'm gonna get in a fight with you because you're on my turf kind of thing. What keeps you grounded in that?
I was dead inside before I started comedy. So,
which is the opposite of what normal people do.
And so I was dead already, and so everything that comes at me, it's like I don't feel nothing. I'm dead inside. So no, I would say I just try to even when I was in high school, I went to an all-girls school for high school.
Fun.
And that is drama. But I grew up in a house with just boys. So it was almost a little bit of a culture shock for me to deal with like all these girls.
Mm-hmm.
When I grew up in a house that was so like masculine, you know, and so I didn't grow up with that type of drama. I grew up with, if you mess with me, I'm going to punch you in the face. You know, like, but I think because I've never been like a big gossiper or like a lot of drama like that. I mean, it's just played out in as an adult that I'm just like, hey man, life's hard enough as it is. I'm just on this path. This is my goal. I'm trying not to get sidetracked as much as possible, you know, and then just kind of stay the course. And of course, that doesn't always work that way. But you know, I try to minimize the life distractions, and so to me, those things, it's just like everybody's here trying to fulfill their dreams, and you know, I just try to stay focused on what my goals are. You know?
So what are some of your goals? What are you focused on? What are you looking forward to? Especially after like being shut up for a year and a half.
Dina.
Anything you can share?
I think I've been just kind of working on I definitely been trying to work on more writing. I think this past year I took advantage of not being on the stage like that, and because of those Zoom shows, it kind of forced me to write a little bit more. And then I also during the past year, I had decided to go back into. I used to take the sketch writing. I took the sketch writing program over at Second City a few years ago, and so I finished it then. And then, you know, and then stand up. I kind of prioritized stand up, so I wasn't really writing sketches. And so this past year, without doing a lot of stage time, I try to write more. And you know, so now I've been kind of focusing, doing some other kind of comedy, like writing sketches and doing things like that. And so and just collaborate some other comedians now because of that. And so hopefully, you know, within the next 6 months or so, we'll have some stuff to actually show for our writing skills. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I love that.
So that's what I've been doing.
Right on. That's okay. So this is the interesting thing. Like almost everyone that I talk to, no matter where they are in the world, has diversified what they do or have doubled down on writing and getting, you know, their hour for a special whatever. Do you feel like that this last year really gave you a chance to tap into things that you wouldn't have otherwise?
I don't know if it's given me the opportunity to tap into things I wouldn't have otherwise. I think it gave me the opportunity to tap into things that I have been wanting to do, but I just keep pushing it in the back burner. Because like I said, you know, I did the whole writing program at Second City a few years ago, and actually everyone in my class, we all kept writing for like almost like 2 years, where we were actually writing sketches, producing shows, putting them up at Donnie Skybox and the DeMont theaters for a couple of years. And then we kind of all disbanded because, you know, everybody's living their own, you know, lives and have their own goals. And I wanted to reconnect with that is really, I think, what this past year allowed me to do. And so I felt like I needed a refresher. So I had gone, the advantage to modern technology is that the writing classes through like formerly IO, which is now the Comedy Lab, they kept going on Zoom because you know you don't have to be in person to do writing a writing class. And so just to kind of again to keep my creative juices flowing, I took the SNL course, sketch writing course through there to kind of reconnect me to that. And
Right.
so, and then hold me accountable,
Yeah.
and not be lazy about it, So that kind of it was kind of like it was like going to the gym and then not going to the gym for a couple of years, and now you're going back and the muscles are sore and you're like, oh, I haven't done this feels weird. And then you after a while you get back, you're like, oh, okay, my body remembers what to do. So that was basically
My body would be
writing
like,
for me.
my body would be like, girl, I don't know what to do. This is foreign to me and I'm not comfortable with it. You bring up gym and I'm like, ah.
You want to be the first one. I will react that way. With me bringing up the gym.
Okay, so I got really uncomfortable. Like I'm judging myself. Like the 12-year-old me is like, bitch, you're fat. All right, so moving on, getting through my own personal issues. In a world where anything is possible, you don't need money, you don't need other people to help you, what would you do? Unlimited resources, like everything's possible.
I think I would still be doing comedy. I would definitely be doing stand-up. I would be doing it. I'd be more focused on it because right now I have a day job because if not, this interview would be like at a park bench somewhere, and I'd be by a gym on the outside of the building just to steal their Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? Like just so I could talk to you. I'd be like, so in order for me not to be homeless or to move back in with my parents, I need a day job. And I love my parents, but I think they and we love our separate spaces. So
fair. We work better separately.
Yes. That way I can miss them.
Right.
That way I can miss them, and I'd be, look at you, So So if I didn't have to worry about paying bills, I mean, then it would just give me more time to focus on some things I love, and I would also reach out on a more international level as an excuse, not only to do what I love, but then to be like, I need to get the out of here and go visit some other countries and do that at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
That's all my snaps. I'm like just snapping. Yes.
Globally.
So up to this point in your career, what is the thing that you're most proud of or your favorite comedy moment?
For me, I think one of my favorite comedy moments was I did a show once I did a show once where there was like 400 people, and my set went really well. And then it was actually 2 shows back to back, and both shows were sold out and had over 400 people. And I killed both. And some people actually, when they applauded, they actually stood up, which I was like, that had never happened. I was like, people have applauded, but stand up. I'm like, oh. And I did so well that the host, I think he was shocked, like at the reaction of the audience. And he called me back on stage, like almost like an encore of like, thank you. And then I was like, I remember thinking, is this what it's like to be a celebrity? Like, this is nice. Like, And then to make it even like the cherry on the top of the cake was somebody in the audience Facebook messaged me like the next day, and she said to me, "I've seen you perform before and you're funny, but last night you were on fire." And she said, my daughter was with me, and her adult daughter was with me, and she never laughed, and you had her dying. And she was like, "I just thought you should know." And I thought that was just so amazing. She didn't have to message me,
Right.
you know, but that she took time out to even leave me that message was just really like, I was like, "Oh my God, you're going to make me cry, girl. You're going to make me cry."
That's amazing. I love that feeling.
Yeah.
And that's why we do it, right? Like those.
It's never so I don't know what happened. Nobody else has messaged me being like, "You rock it, girl." But, you know, I appreciate that one.
Right? You're like, that's the one moment. That's why I do comedy. And that's what we're addicted to, isn't it?
For sure.
That like, so were your parents very validating growing up?
Of course not. Of course not.
Mine weren't either. So we like, I love how we crave this. Like, this is the thing. I finally started going to like kind of networking events in the city, and I'm around people again, and I realize I'm a whole different person when I'm around people. And after a year of not being truly me, or like even just having the virtual audiences do not give me that validation the same way. But
sure. Yeah, I agree.
But I find that I get so much like energy from the people that are around me, and I'm like yucca yucca cracking people up, and I'm like,
yes, and it drives you, and then it's like this vicious cycle of like, the more you get that energy from them, the more you're like, it's like you said, yucca yucca, like it's like. It's almost like gasoline for a car. You know, the more gas you put in like that, the more I'm going to keep driving.
You created a monster.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Well, Soli, it was so great talking to you.
Oh, thank you. This is fun.
I'm glad you were on. And where can people find you?
People can find me on all the social medias at Soli Comedy, SOLI Comedy, or you could just go to my website, which needs some updating, but it's there, SoliSantosComedy.com, SoliSantos comedy.com.
Amazing. Do you have any shows coming up in the next?
I
whatever?
do, but they're out of state. So for anybody, well, actually, I'm gonna be in Wisconsin. You're out in Wisconsin, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm in Madison.
Okay. I'm gonna be at somewhere in Wisconsin. I think by Lake Geneva. I'm gonna be by Lake Geneva.
Okay. Awesome.
On the 17th. Yeah, next week Saturday, I'm doing a show at a little theater called the Bottle Shop. So.
Oh, awesome. Well, I wish you the best, and I can't wait to see you in person again.
Oh, ditto.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's all the time we have for this week. Thank you so much for listening to the I Love Funny Women podcast.
You can find us on all the social media at I Love Funny Women, and find us on YouTube as well.
And this podcast was written by me.
And me.
And you can find me on all the socials at Dina Nina XO. I know things change.
And you can find me at Lalita Dee, that's D-E-E, Lalita Dee Comedy on Instagram.
And you can find our guest, Soli Santos, at Soli Comedy.
Find Door Girl Greg on Instagram at GG Potter.
And of course, our amazing announcer can be found on Instagram at Krista Garner.
This is an Artemis Glow studio production
in association with Crossover Media and AMG. See you next Monday.
Have a great week.